All right. Should be live now. Oh, AJ's backstage there.
Why is my audio? 1 second. I should play with my settings a little bit. Audio, mic, speaker. I guess that's fine. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, cool. It's weird. I think my audio is coming from my headphones to you, but I'm hearing you from my laptop. But I hear you, so it's fine.
All right. Awesome. Just gonna
Cool.
put some notifications out, letting everyone know we're live. And if you want to give it a few more minutes for now, if everyone in the chat listening in, let us know where you're from. Let us know where you're watching from.
Oh yeah, nice. I see everybody in the StreamYard. What's up? What's up? Nice for everybody to chime in. A little bit of a different format.
Yep.
This works.
What's going on, guys? It was great seeing a few of you guys in Chicago yesterday. We had an awesome time at the Cubs game. We had a few holders there, Peaced Out, Jayhawk,
Nice.
Cannon, Dragon Hot Dog. Had an awesome time. We met Justin Turner on the field before the game. So big shout out to him. What's going on, everyone?
JT's the best. That's Captain VSP right there.
Yes,
of all our athletes. JT's definitely in the Hall of Fame of VSP athletes. Josh Emmett's another one.
100%.
Cool. Why don't we start off because we don't have a ton of time. I'm going to do a little kind of State of the Union, cover a few points. Michael's done a great job of teaming me up with some talking points, so I'm going to do a little bit of looking at that. First and foremost, as you know, call it the foundation of VaynerSports Pass, which is Vayner Sports, the talent agency. It's been an exciting time for us as a sports agency. We've had a really good, productive, call it 30 to 45 days here recently, headlined by a few major items. Sauce Gardner becoming a new client was a big one. We're super excited about that, especially with Hard Knocks featuring the Jets this year. So we're going to have 3 of our clients, Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed on the other side of that secondary as a tandem at corner, and then Zonovan Knight, our running back client with the Jets. So we'll have 3 clients featured on Hard Knocks. Beyond that, on the baseball side, we had a successful draft, which just happened. We had some guys make the All-Star team, Shane McClanahan and Bo Bichette. Draft-wise, we had Chase Dolander go top 10. We had a few other picks in the top 100, which we're excited about. Just yesterday, our football division just executed right before the deadline, which is today, an extension for Evan Ingram with the Jaguars, with him playing on the franchise tag. So that was great. And then on the MMA side, I think most notably, our guy Stipe Miocic announced to fight John Jones at Madison Square Garden here in November. I think it's safe to say you can anticipate maybe a raffle for that coming up when that gets completely locked in as far as seating and all that. But that's a no-brainer for us in our backyard with one of our Hall of Fame clients fighting in one of the biggest fights of all time. So excited about that. As far as the investment opportunity for Black Card holders, we've had give or take 1 or 2 people, around 10 people. Either I think 7 or 8 are done, and 1 or 2 or 3 more are in the finalized stages. But we've got a nice big group of our community that are now our partners at Vayner Sports. We actually have our first advisory council meeting tomorrow with those that are now investors in regards to the rewards program. You'll notice, and Michael, why don't you talk a little bit about this? I think it's good to be past the stage. We're going to move a little bit away from the word loyalty. It's the same program, but Michael's done a good job of kind of highlighting that given the legal restrictions around how we need to set it up, loyalty is a little bit of a misnomer. So we're calling it rewards program. Everything still operates the same as I mentioned, but we just thought that loyalty was kind of a misusage of that word. And Michael, you want to kind of just chime in just because you did lead the initiative for us to work towards changing that name a bit.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to be rebranding from just like VSP loyalty to just VSP rewards program. I'm sure you've seen over the last few months, obviously a bit more chatter around that. We sent out one initial survey to like all the thousands of people that have signed up with our previous raffle tech, anyone that's kind of been a holder across the whole time, just a survey asking them if they'd be willing to participate in giving feedback around the launch of this new program. We followed that up. We had around like 600-ish responses from that first survey, followed that up with another survey where we went a little bit in depth as far as what our plan is as we kind of change a little bit our ecosystem, as we try and make it better for the holders, both small and large. And we had, I would say, around like 200-ish responses from there. In that survey, there was an article with a little bit of an overview of our initial launch plan, which I'm going to go over right now. And in that article was the survey attached there for you to provide feedback. So after this AMA, if you want to go in the description of this YouTube live right now, you'll see a Medium article. That article has everything that I'm about to cover right now, and along with it, a survey linked at the bottom there. So as far as just kind of initial plans, again, I'm sure you've heard us talk about this for some time now. We are going to be releasing a new PFP NFT collection under the VaynerSports Pass brand. Now, just for some context, legally, in order for us to release kind of these points that we plan on doing into the wild, and for that to be, and again, obviously you would have to consult your accountant on this, but for us, or at least us planning on it to include some non-taxable winnings as far as being able to claim your raffle wins, being able to churn out events at a faster rate. I'm sure as you guys see now, we put a lot of rules and sweepstakes with our raffles. That takes time. That costs a lot of money on the legal side of things. And so with this new system that we plan on doing, which is going to start with the launch of this new PFP NFT collection, that's going to just make it much easier for us to operate and churn out events at a faster rate. So what do you get for purchasing this PFP NFT collection? One, just a base amount of points that you'll be able to use. And I'll go over some of the use cases in a bit. Plus, you'll also be getting the bonus points depending on how many VSPs you have. So say, you mint one, and it'll be kind of one per holder, one per wallet. It'll all be based on the raffle tech, but it'll be like you mint one PFP, you get a base, say 100 points, plus X amount of points depending on how many bases, specs, all of that. We were kind of making like a separate algorithm for that, which you'll see kind of behind that. And again, a lot of what I'm talking right now is in that article, and we can kind of go over it there. So these points are going to be mainly used for bidding on certain events, point raffles for certain events, redeemables, and so many more things. So let's say, for example, we have 8 tickets to give away to a game. We'll do maybe for 5 of them, we'll do something like an auction where whoever wants to bid on those 5 tickets, the top 5 amount of points, will be able to get those tickets. They'll burn them. And maybe for the other 3 pairs, what we'll do is a point raffle. Every 2 points entered is another burn and is another entry into the specific raffle that we're doing there. All of this, again, under the right legal guidance that we've had, should be able to churn out at a faster rate and be non-taxable. So that was kind of the quick overview as far as purchasing this new NFT, which we've been taking into account, the concept of the bear market pricing and all that, purchasing that NFT, receiving the initial amount of points, using those points now to go to more events in your specific local area.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. A couple of things that I'll tag on. Probably the biggest one is, timing. I've always been on the record of admitting that this was our biggest miss timing-wise. We were supposed to be out first quarter. We're already here in July. I've been waiting because I wanted to wait until I felt really comfortable. I'm comfortable saying that before the end of September. Michael wanted me to go with a little bit more of an aggressive timeline, but I'm giving us an extra couple of weeks just because I don't want to be wrong again. Being wrong once, shame on me. Being wrong twice, shame on me again, I guess. But I don't want to be wrong twice. Bad usage of that cliche. It's not the point. So letting you guys know that we are aiming to have this out either, I think realistically early September is what we're planning on. Maybe before the NFL season, it would be nice and ideal. I'm just giving us a little bit of cushion for any unexpected hiccups because there's been a lot of them with this. So, But that's my first tangible aspect of timing. Then I'm going to highlight 1 or 2 questions. And then, Michael, I think we mainly covered off when we wanted to cover off. Yeah, so we can get into Q&A. I see, Adamas, I see your 2 questions. But I saw a comment from, and I apologize if I get the pronunciation wrong, but Manav Qatari, he brought up gaming utility, and I think that's a super fair call out. I think out of all the sports, we probably have been behind the most on gaming. So I'm making a statement here on the record live that, yeah, we've done a tiny bit, but not nearly enough for gaming. And I also saw one of our Vayner Sports gaming team members, Brendan Zhang, on here. I'm assuming it's the same Brendan Zhang. So Brendan, if you're listening, grab either Michael or Cal. Let's take a look at gaming. We had one or two things we were working on that we ended up hitting. We kind of put the kibosh on, but that's not fair to the gaming holders. And I think we should ramp up a couple things on that front. So that's on my mind. I think it's a very fair call out, and I'd like to fix it. Then, as far as Adamas's question, what is the relationship VSP has with Vayner athletes, and when merch tickets they have access to be available to VSP? Yeah, I mean, we have the most direct relationship there is with the athletes. The holding company that owns both the Vayner Sports Pass project as well as Vayner Sports' talent representation arm is the same company. It's one of the same ownership. I'm the co-CEO of that business. And so, yeah, to Michael's point yesterday, we had some holders at Cubs Red Sox?
Yep.
Cubs. I wasn't sure if it was White Sox or Cubs. I didn't see the game, but we had our client Justin Turner, who is probably our most active and integrated. Let's see, or is there anybody leveraging athletes just for more quality than? I'm reading Adamus. I think there's a typo in your. Are you saying? I mean, here's the thing. I'm assuming you meant quantity versus quality. Yeah, quality is the focus, but where we've struggled, and honestly, the biggest inspiration for switching to a rewards program versus a over reliance on raffles is the locality and the ability to do things and create an experience. When we first started and the NFT market was vibrant, even in the days when things were at its absolute peak, we were having a hard time filling some of our raffle wins, and people were winning and just not trying to sell, and the marketplace wasn't very liquid. Whereas this new system with rewards points and the ability to bid points on hyper local activations, I think will make it much easier for us to integrate Vayner Sports athletes, and to know that people are actually going to be there and things of that nature. Because we had one event where nobody went, and that's a huge waste of money and resources and things of that nature. So, Adamus, game worn jersey as a loyalty point reward, that's definitely on the idea and roadmap. So that's definitely in play. And we actually did a little bit of that with our guy, Justin Turner, where he actually had some custom gear, like shoulder protector, foot ankle protector, branded as our hollow VSP, and we gave that away and things of that nature. So there's definitely more of that we can do. And then Charles, your question with the PFP mint, we haven't had the final meeting as regards to how the actual mint will be distributed. So I don't want to answer that right now. But that is something that we've discussed of random versus based on your holdings and things of that nature. So that's an active conversation topic and one of the things that we need to finalize between now and launch. Hey, C-Bro, in regards to burning, honestly, I'm not eager to burn more of the inventory. We did a massive burn with the Black Card event, and that was definitely successful. We burned thousands of VSPs, but I think given the state of the marketplace and the ecosystem, I don't really see us burning 1,000 VSPs meaning anything right now. Rather than burning to create demand, our focus is a little bit more on how do we make things more mainstream and accessible and fiat based. Because as a business and as an NFT project, or as a project as a whole, we realize that in order for us to thrive moving forward, at least during this bear market, we're going to need to rely on more than just the current and active NFT ecosystem. It's very quiet right now. It's very chilly conditions. And so rather than burning VSPs and trying to derive rarity and scarcity that way, we're more focused on trying to increase the overall consumer pool. This is great, by the way. Keep the questions firing. We got about 15 more minutes before I need to go to my next thing. So I think the Q&A aspect. Someone I've asked, are you bullish on NFTs in the current market? Because I don't know people still buying NFTs in the market right now. Listen, no, I think it's impossible to say we're bullish in the current market. I think there are fundamental flaws with our market. I think there are issues. I am bullish on the long term of NFTs and the blockchain as a resource and a back end. But I think anybody that is bullish on its current state is being a little naive. And so I don't really see. It's hard to be bullish right now. You can look at my wallet. I've bought a couple things here and there over the last 6 months, but not much at all. It's hard to justify. You're seeing a lot of projects. There's a lot of things that have been problematic with our industry, and I think my mindset is, how do we survive the winter? How do we maintain? How do we build while being responsible? Will your company go back to Web 2? Technically, VaynerSports was never Web 2. I would also say that I'm proud, made a decision early that was panned mostly. And by what I would say is we were always Web 2.5 in the sense that we always had user profiles. We were always gathering data. So I think Web 2.5 is how we've been, and it's how we plan to be moving forward. And that's how I look at it. And then as far as Josh's question, how will we reward more Web 2 people? Our loyalty points program is not on the blockchain. These points are associated with your profile, which is kind of what I'm talking about with the Web 2.5. And so some of the things that we're thinking about doing, where we're able to bring in new customers and new members of the VaynerSports Pass community by using other dynamics besides our NFTs, and the fact that our rewards program is not on the blockchain, but is instead associated with your more traditional Web 2.0 profile, I think will allow us to execute against that. APG Law asks, how much runway does VSP still have without bringing in more revenue? Thankfully, we converted from ETH to US dollar within a week of the mint. And so that thankfully was a very good thing for our runway. We have spent aggressively here in the first year and change, a lot of that on, putting on events. And a lot of that is the promises like black card airdrops and wild card game and other raffles we've done. A shit ton of that has been on legal fees and things of that nature, unfortunately, but a reality. But what I would tell you is that we've always promised at a bare minimum the 3 years of utility, and we plan on seeing that out at a bare minimum. We have the runway to do that easily in terms of continuing on with things like wildcard game, our raffles, the reward program, the PFP project that we're talking about here, which is Special Project P from the VSP, and things of that nature. Curious of the custody portion of the NFT and rewards being awarded. The stars, could you elaborate a little bit? I mean, the NFTs are still in your wallet, and the profile on VaynerSports Pass's website, which is more Web 2 based, is associated with your wallet and your own username and password. So I don't think there should be any custody issues of your assets, but maybe I'm not understanding exactly what you're saying.
I could take this one. So they asked earlier, will we own the NFT, or referring to the PFP, or will VSP hold the assets and be on the VSP marketplace? So the VSP NFT is going to be, again, a fully Web3 integrated NFT. And the second that you purchase that NFT, you're going to be rewarded off-chain considered points on your profile that you'll be able to use on our marketplace. So this NFT is essentially the bridge between getting access to the points which you'll be able to use on the events. Now, one thing that I didn't mention earlier on, which I'm sure some people are thinking about, is what about the general icons? Because it is going to be just one kind of standard amount of points. We are taking into account number of icons as far as rewarding points. And there will still be, at least on for now, like monthly raffles for some of the more premium events. So with those specific sporting icons, those will matter. So again, going back to the original question, NFT is going to be totally in your wallet, and those points are going to be on the VSP raffle site, on your profile page, and all that.
Thank you, Michael. Michael, maybe you can answer this one because I don't have my beat. I don't have the heartbeat on it. The STG football activation that Jacob's asking about.
I'll be honest, Cal has a little bit more insight on that one, but we're working on the back end with some of the athletes to get set up with a lot of like the streaming aspect of it. But we'll have an update on that.
Cool. Black Card 60 airdrop before what, September?
Yeah, September is the fiscal year.
So sometime in the next 6 week, Burge. What will the PFP project money be used for? A couple things. One, a significant portion of the PFP money is going to be reinvested back into fulfilling the loyalty, because we're basically creating an economy of these loyalty points. So a lot of it, is honestly just going to go back to the cost of fulfilling the loyalty points initiative and program. And then honestly, overall, while we did make a lot of money from the initial mint, in order for the VaynerSports Pass project to succeed long term and thrive and survive beyond our 3-year commitment, we're going to have to find ways to make money. We're a business. We're not a charity project. So, royalties are not a part of the equation anymore. And so if there's no royalties that consumers are paying to projects, these projects, us included, need to find ways to make money. So it's a hybrid of, frankly, a lot of it's being reinvested right back into fulfilling the loyalty, the rewards program dynamics that we're planning on doing. And then part of it will be just to pay, I pay Michael a salary. So, and Cal too, and some of the others. So we need to build a business, and that's on my mind as well in general. How do non-holders earn points? As of right now, and for the first drop, they do not. But like I talked about, Web 2.5 being this project, we are creating and working on other dynamics that allow non-holders to participate in our ecosystem while not being on the blockchain. And
Yep.
yes, it's possible, and it is a big part of our focus.
Yeah, and just to clarify on that, there will be kind of like a base emission of points just for minting the PFP at first. So you don't necessarily need to own any VSPs once you mint the PFP to get a certain amount of points. Those VSPs will serve as even more points on top of the base additional one that is going to be released.
Cool. How will the VSPs that are transferred to the treasury from the investors be treated? Great. Good question, Doer State. Appreciate you, Alex. We haven't had a final decision on how we're treating it, but I would tell you that it's a hybrid. One, it'll be treated like inventory that we've always had and have used in terms of using it as prizes and rewards for things that we do. Another aspect that we're thinking about is we've had a lot of people from the Black Card community that are not participating as investors say that, hey, if there's any, VSPs that could be made available for purchase from the treasury capturing or recouping all those VSPs that the investors are sending, I'd have interest. So we're also dabbling with the idea, back to my point about before of, I want to build revenue for this business. We may explore some sort of direct sale opportunity for some of the rarer VSPs, black cards. I think we might be getting a blank hollow or two, wild card, etc. So, a mix of just being in the prize pool for future activations and potentially some sort of direct sale for revenue.
Yeah, and just to jump in, going to Manav's comment, like what's been going on with the whales and their VSPs. I would recommend you check out the video that AJ put out in the announcements channel on, let me just get the date real quick, on June 29th, 11:03 a.m. Eastern time. I would recommend watching that full video for the full context on what's been discussed over the last few minutes there.
Cool. John, to your question, you only get points from the mint. Secondary sales do not count. That is a legal aspect of this. In order for our rewards program to more mirror things like airlines or credit cards, it has to be a direct sale. Our original, very, very first version of this was to reward activity in secondary sales, and we ran into some legal issues with that. Are you planning on expanding more into Europe, aka soccer? I will say that we do have a raffle. I'm looking at a text from Cal. I believe we actually have a soccer-related raffle by the end of the week. So there's that as regards to raffles. As far as representation, we just got into basketball, and there is a good business, and there is a business dynamic of European basketball being a dynamic for us. So from a representation perspective, we have a tiny, tiny bit of it with MMA, like, a guy like Ian Gary, for example, being from that part of the world. But in general, I don't see us getting into European soccer from a representation standpoint in the next year or year and a half. And then after that, who knows? Will there be tiers of discounts on the PFP like we saw with Threads? So a little bit of the inverted. So there won't be a discount. Price will be the same, but based on your holdings, you will get more rewards points as a multiplier. So it'll be the same fiat base cost, but larger bag holders will get more rewards points that they can then use to redeem, tickets to events and merch and things of that nature.
And then as far as pricing is concerned, because I saw Connor 320 mention that, we've been taking a lot of feedback from the community regarding this. And for those that have, by the way, more questions, concerns, comments around this entire program, in this description of the video, there's a link to the Medium article that contains everything that we're talking about now, along with the survey link there. One of those questions is surrounding the pricing of this new PFP min. And so with all those concerns there, would definitely recommend you guys check that out. But taking into account all the feedback there.
Broder, to answer your question, in his text, Cal did not use the word soccer. He used the word footy. So, just so you know, Cal's no sellout.
Yeah.
Manav, in regards to the burn for the early access to PFP, I think it's an interesting idea on the surface. I think the only thing that I need to think about is we have to look at, I don't know if there's any benefit of early access, right? I need to look back at our plans, but I like the idea. Again, though, I'm not going to lie. Burning VSPs is not high on my list of outstanding issues. I think rather than limiting the supply for a small group of people, the better use of energy is to try to make the group of people bigger. In the grand scheme, 12,000 sports-related NFTs in this project, with mass adoption is a small amount. I don't think there's a tangible difference between 10,000 and 12,000 in the big picture if we're ultimately going to be successful, is my point of view. I might be wrong, but that's my point of view. Let's grab one more. And then I'm going to call it value. So Ben Fuller's question, I'll last it there. I'll go Ben and I'll go Isa24. Ben, yes, there will be other opportunities for rewards points. Buying the PFP or other VSPs or anything like that is not a standalone requirement. There are other things that we're going to be doing, like we mentioned, especially for people that are not blockchain natives. So it'll expand. And this isn't your only opportunity as a blockchain native consumer either to get rewards points either. I'll actually use Tanner's question to get ahead of something. If you look from Blackcard, the way we did the airdrops in particular, a huge percentage of what was spent from a perspective of, if you look at what was burned, a lot of it, I would say on average, and I don't have the math, so don't kill me on this, but I want to say on average, you're talking like 30 to 60% of what was spent, or like 40 to 60% of what was spent on the black cards was recouped based on the airdrop and the value of that airdrop at time. And so sustainably and logically, it's not always going to be that strong. And obviously that was a very different environment. So I don't think, and I don't want to mislead people, they shouldn't expect to get 40 to 60% of what they spent in year 2 and in year 3. That's not going to be realistic given these conditions and the state of the NFT marketplace. So we're still going to do the airdrops for year 2 and 3. And I'm glad we made the airdrops in year 1 very strong and to derive value. But for context, VaynerSports Pass didn't make any direct money. We made some royalties on the people buying VSPs to burn, but transparently, it was not a big revenue driver. There was the equivalent of roughly around $1 million spent on the black cards, but that didn't go directly to us. That actually went in the secondary market in a lot of ways to people selling passes and things like that into the black card auction. So just being transparent, Tanner, that's not what black card holders should expect in terms of the ROI. And honestly, I hope nobody expected that, because that wouldn't even necessarily line up logically. Cool. I need to run. I appreciate it. This was a great Q&A. I feel like this format with YouTube Live was nice. It was a nice change of pace. I hope everybody else enjoyed it. And JB, to your point, honestly, any thoughts for raffles to be easier to trade and sell? Honestly, that's the rewards program. That was the idea. We don't really want people trading and selling raffle wins. We want people to go to the events. So if you live in a market and we do an event, we'd rather you proactively go bid and win it rather than trying to win and sell in the secondary market, because we don't have a big enough community for a liquid marketplace to cover the globe for sporting events. And so your point, and I agree, between the secondary market being a tough market and the tax consequences, that was the inspiration for the rewards program. So cool. I need to run. Thanks, y'all. Take care, everybody. Talk
See you,
soon.
Jay. Thanks, guys.